video, I'm going to get back to talking about types of wine. I'm going to be tasting and discussing with you sparkling wine. All sparkling wine starts out as still wine, and it's made effervescent or fizzy by the introduction of carbon dioxide gas, either through a secondary fermentation or through injection. There are 4 methods to make sparkling wine. I am not going to be discussing how to create sparkling wine in this video. Around the globe, sparkling wine is made wherever wine is made. Sparkling wine can be made from a single varietal or from blends, and sparkling wine can be made from white wine, rosé wine, or red wine. The most famous sparkling wine is Champagne. Champagne is a sparkling wine made in the traditional Champagne method in the Champagne region of France. Only wines that meet these very rigid restrictions can carry the name Champagne on their label. Most countries abide by these restrictions except for the United States. In 2006, an agreement between the European Union and the United States states that United States producers of sparkling wine will not use Champagne on their label unless they use Champagne on their label prior to the agreement. Champagne is a blended sparkling wine. It's a blend between Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. Pinot Noir adds structure and body, Pinot Meunier adds fruitiness and floral aromas, and Chardonnay adds freshness, elegance, and helps in the aging of wine. As you probably know, sparkling wine is contained in pressurized bottles. The pressure of the bottle for sparkling wine depends on the country in which it was made and the method in which the wine was made. For Champagne, the pressure in the bottle is 6 atmospheres. 6 atmospheres is equal to 2 to 3 times the air pressure in an automobile tire. Sparkling wine has many names in many different countries. In France, you get Champagne and Cremant, Spain, Cava, Italy, Asti and Prosecco, Portugal, Espumante, Germany, Sekt, and in the United States, sparkling wine or Champagne if the winery meets the 2006 agreement restrictions. Let's talk a little bit about quality and how to determine quality of sparkling wine. There always has been a statement that the smaller the bubbles and the more quantity of bubbles says that a sparkling wine has a lot of quality. Let's first talk about the size of the bubbles. The bubbles capture the aromas and flavors of sparkling wine. The larger the bubbles, the more flavor and aromas you're going to get from the bubbles. Therefore, the bubble size really doesn't talk to the quality of the wine. Let's talk about quantity. Quantity doesn't talk to quality either, in the fact that as sparkling wine ages, the bubbles in the wine will decrease. There's one last bit of research ongoing, and that's about the sound of the bubbles and quality. So far, that research has been inconclusive. Let's talk about serving sparkling wine. Sparkling wine wants to be served from 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Sparkling wine does not want to be decanted. If you decant it, it is going to lose its effervescence and it will lose it fairly quickly. Sparkling wine does not like to age. It ages on average 1 to 3 years, with some higher quality sparkling wines aging up to 20 years. And I've read anecdotes of really high quality champagne being opened after 100 years and the wine still being drinkable. I can't attest to the truth of those anecdotes, but I have read things like that. Let's talk about glasses. There are 3 traditional glasses for sparkling wine. The first one is the Champagne coupe or saucer. This type of glass is used mainly in ceremonies and celebrations such as weddings. It's really not great glass for sparkling wine in that the effervescence disappears fairly quickly in this type of glass. The next glass is a Champagne flute. The flute is a tall, narrow-bodied, and straight-sided glass. There's a rough portion at the very bottom of the glass, so as you pour the wine in, it creates a great deal of bubbles that rise through the glass very rapidly. The issue with that is those bubbles are mainly forced into your nose, and you're going to lose a lot of the aroma and flavor in that glass. The next type of glass is a Champagne tulip glass. The tulip glass, similar to the flute, is a tall glass with somewhat narrow sides, but the sides aren't straight. The middle of the body of the glass is much broader than the flute. This allows for a larger surface area for which the wine to aerate. And it also pushes those bubbles more to your lips and your mouth so you can better appreciate the flavors and the aromas. That's the more accepted glass today. However, there's also a lot of discussion that just a simple white wine glass will be sufficient for serving sparkling wine. Now let's discuss sparkling wine characteristics. Color. The color of sparkling wine really takes on the color of the varietal from which the wine is made. A lot of sparkling wine is fairly clear, sometimes somewhat yellow, and if you have a sparkling Shiraz, which is a red wine from Australia, because the wine is red, the sparkling wine is also going to be red. The body of sparkling wines runs the entire gamut of body, light to full. Alcohol usually runs from 12 to 13.5%. Acidity is usually medium to high. Sweetness, however, there are 7 levels to sweetness, unlike regular still wine. I've created a chart which you can follow as a reference to understand the sweetness levels. Looking at the chart, on the left-hand side of the chart, you'll see a glass with 3 bubbles. These bubbles are the dry levels of sparkling wine, and they start with Brut Nature, Extra Brut, and Brut. On the right-hand side are the more sweeter levels, and there are 4 bubbles there, and they start out with Extra Sec, Sec, Demi-Sec, and Doux. As far as tannins, tannins tend to be low to low plus, and low plus being those made from rosé wines. Food pairings for sparkling wines tend to be eggs, smoked salmon, cold shrimp and lobster, things like those champagne breakfast foods. Now I'm going to get ready to show you how to open a bottle of sparkling wine in a safe manner. A couple notes first. You shouldn't overhandle sparkling wine bottles. The more you handle, the more agitated the wine becomes. Do not shake the bottles. Do not sit the bottles down hard on a hard surface. And also, do not point the bottles at someone or something that can break when attempting to open them. To safely open a sparkling wine bottle, grasp the bottle by the neck and put your thumb over the stopper. Pull the tab on the foil to remove the foil. Holding the bottle at a 45-degree angle, keep the bottom of the bottle against your body for support. Once the foil is removed, loosen the cage or muselet by pulling down on the tab and turning the tab counterclockwise until the cage is loose. Do not remove the cage from the bottle. After the cage is loose, grasp the stopper between your thumb and forefinger and slowly turn the bottle. Do not turn the stopper. Tilt the stopper and it will ease its way out of the bottle without ejecting any of the wine. To pour the wine, tilt the glass at a 45-degree angle and pour a small portion into the bottom of the glass and let that settle. Then continue to pour wine into the glass until it's half full. Half full will allow you to more readily appreciate the flavors and the aromas. The next thing I need to do is stopper my sparkling wine so it doesn't lose its effervescence and freshness. I like to use this type of sparkling wine stopper as a set of metal wings that wrap around the neck of the bottle and a pump to make sure that seal is perfect. Push the stopper down into the bottle, pull the wings down around the neck of the bottle, then pump it. Once you feel that pressure, the seal is set. I'm going to be tasting a California blended sparkling wine. It is champagne in that it meets those 2006 restrictions and has champagne on the bottle. It's a blend of Chardonnay, Chenin Blanc, French Colombard, and Pinot Noir. Well, let's taste our wine. As you can see, very clear and very brilliant. It's a nice golden yellow. Let's try a sniff to pick up some aromas. Don't swirl sparkling wine. Very nice. Lemons, peanut butter. Try a taste. Tart citrus, spiced apple cider, and cinnamon spice. The body of this wine is full. Alcohol for this particular champagne is 12%. Acidity is high. Sweetness level is medium dry or demi-sec. Tannins are low. Food pairings for this particular champagne, I would say, are those champagne breakfast foods. Eggs, smoked salmon, caviar. I hope you enjoyed this discussion of sparkling wines. I know I have. I would suggest you try a diversity of sparkling wines from several different countries, as well as trying a nice red sparkling wine like Sparkling Shiraz from Australia to really see and taste and appreciate the diversity of these wines. Well, I look forward to our next video, and I hope to see you there. And as always, raise a glass and have a drink.